Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me today in this live webinar on a very valuable subject, how to manage stress and anxiety in our lives in a natural way. And of course, life is always full of changes, and this creates stress. And we're now in a time where we're experiencing a lot of changes and a lot of stress. So it's a time where we're going to have more anxiety. So I'm not a counselor or a therapist, but I'm going to share with you the Ayurvedic perspective on the mind and how to manage the mind and the thinking. I'm going to then talk about some home remedies, things you can do at home to stay more relaxed. I'm going to talk about things that, tend to overstimulate our mind and aggravate our nervous system that maybe we're doing and not aware of, including some foods. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about diet. And then I'll spend most of the time talking about the different herbs, Western herbs and Indian herbs that we can take to manage our anxiety and manage our stress. Okay, so but first I want to talk a little bit about the mind and our thinking. When if you've ever studied meditation or you've gone to India and you've been to an ashram, they're doing the certain training for the mind. For example, staring at a dot or staring at a flame or just repeating one mantra over and over and over. Why is this? Because this is the training of the mind. The mind is like the wild horse, and we're the rider. We can't let the horse take charge. We can't follow the thoughts of the mind, because the mind always is creating tension and anxiety. The mind is thinking, oh, should have, could have. All of these thoughts are types of thoughts that are creating more stress and anxiety when we have these thoughts. So the more still we can make the mind, the less thoughts we have. The less thoughts we have, the more peace we're going to find. So a lot of our anxiety is coming from our own mind, specifically our own thinking. So that's why if we can practice meditation or we can do yoga where we're just breathing, following our breathing, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. It's a very good practice. Breathing practices, pranayama, meditation, focusing on one thing, a mantra or a dot or just a flame. And that will teach you to still the mind. And once you still the mind, you'll find you're not thinking. That's right. You don't need to think, because thinking in our society is we're thinking too much. We're overthinking. A lot of people with anxiety or even insomnia aren't sleeping because they are thinking too much. They're tired. They've been working all day. But why aren't they going to sleep? Their body's exhausted because their mind is moving too much, too active. We could say in Ayurveda, the thought comes, and instead of just letting it go, it stays in our head and just keeps going around in circles, and we don't let go of these thoughts. So it's good to be the observer of your thoughts. Observe your thoughts. If you have a negative thought, for example, I have a negative thought like, oh, that person will do this or this bad thing will happen, then basically I try to let go of that thought and just try to not have that thought. Let it go. Try to change the subject in your own mind. A different thought, a more healthy thought, a more positive thought. Negative thinking can create a lot of stress and despair. So when you have negative thinking, you try to catch yourself, train yourself, just like the horse. You're riding the horse, and then the horse goes and does something crazy and goes off. I ride a horse. Then we have to get it back in control and have the horse to focus on the path that it's on. Okay? So we do the same with our mind. Watch the mind. Watch the mind that doesn't have negative thoughts. Try to have positive thoughts. Watch the mind that this poor person here. I can't take the call now. Sorry. So, and try to bring the thoughts back to what you want to think about, what is important for you, like relaxing, positive thoughts, positive things. Yeah. Now, also, we don't want to think of the past. The past doesn't exist. It's only in your mind. So all of your thoughts about I should have, I could have, he should have, all of these things are all in the past, and they're all going to create stress for you. So we have to forget the past. And the future also, if we worry too much about the future, we will also create more stress because we cannot control the future. So the past, thinking of the past, stressful. Thinking of the future, stressful. Negative thoughts, stressful. So you have to keep an eye on the mind and not let it go crazy and not let it grab onto some worry or some fear and just go round and round and round and round in your head. You have to let it go. If you can just do some breathing practices, focus on a little flame, turn out the lights, and we can take some herbs too. We can take some nervine, some relaxing herbs that will then help us as like a tool to still the mind. That's what we want, a still, calm mind. So, and we have to let go of the thoughts of control. I see a lot of people, they're upset because somebody doesn't do what they want, or the economy doesn't do what they want, or the stock market doesn't do what they want. We can control the weather. We can't control other people. We can't control viruses. So if what we can't control, we shouldn't worry about. It's not, we only can have action. So the best state to not have any stress, not have any worry, is to not think. That's right. Don't think at all. You don't need to think. You just need to do. Like do public speaking, and I never think about what I'm going to say, or I'll be anxious. I just go out there and talk, and then I can stay relaxed. I do my best. I may prepare. I have a few notes. I have a little outline here of what I want to cover today, but I don't spend time thinking about it. So, in fact, we don't need to think at all. When you're cooking, you don't need to think. You cook. When you're loving your lover, shouldn't be thinking. You should be loving. When you're caring for your child, you should be caring. When you have work to do, you just do your work. Why do we need to think about it? If you think, oh, I don't like it, I don't like him, these are all the thoughts. The reality is, this is your job, this is your partner, this is your life. We're in a lockdown, this is just reality. So acceptance is very, very important. The more we accept the reality, the better. There's the objective reality, which is what's there, and there's subjective, what we translate it and interpret it as. So we want to see things as accurately as we can, objectively, and not attach our thoughts, our opinions, our emotions to them. Just accept it. This is what's happening. This is the reality. And keep breathing. So I hope that helped you to not think and realize that you can get through life every day and not think at all. Now, there's always times where you have to think. If you're a young girl and somebody says, come get in my car, I'll take you for a drive, you better think this is not a good idea. And, there's times, if somebody asks you to do something that's against the law, you have to think that this is not a good idea. So thinking can protect you. But overall, if you're doing your chores, you're doing your job, you're taking care of your family, things you have to do, there's not much point to think about it. It's better just to do it, follow it. Okay? So there's many home remedies that we can do to help ourselves to support our nervous system. Because what we're talking about here today is our nervous system. Our nervous system, we could say, supports our mind. and our mind is controlling the thought. So we can see the nervous system is supporting it. If the nervous system is agitated and stimulated, then the mind's going to be agitated and stimulated, and then the thoughts are going to go and go and go. So we have to support the nervous system. And the herbs that we're going to talk about today, the herbal teas and herbal formulas, Western and Indian, are supporting the nervous system, even slowing down the mind, slowing down the thinking. So if you have anxiety, and if you have nervousness, anxiety, sleeping issues, insomnia, then your nervous system is overstimulated, overactive, we could say. Too vata, too much prana, pranavaya sutra, too much prana and thinking in the head, too much air in the head, so to speak. So we have to do the opposite to ground out, to bring our head down, to reduce the air, the spacey nerve quality, and the stimulating that makes us move faster. Now we liken, of course, in our society to be active, to drink coffee and work all day and be productive. And that's okay if you really need it. If you're lethargic and slow and overweight and have more kapha, and maybe you could have a cup of coffee in the morning and you'll be fine. But if you're watching this webinar and you have anxiety, nervousness, restlessness, poor sleep, and for sure any neurological issue like Parkinson's or a sciatica, or nerve pain, or tingling, or numbness in the nerves, or neuropathy, then for sure you have to really support the nervous system. And the first thing we can do is to take out all stimulants. That's right, all stimulants. Coffee, chocolate, yerba mate, green tea, anything stimulating. No, because more than likely the person with the anxiety who's thinking too much is already very active, already very productive. They don't need to go faster. They need to slow down. So they don't need coffee. Now, if you are dependent on coffee, then you could have, of course, what's called adrenal fatigue, where you've just pushed yourself too much and you've burned out your adrenals, we could say. And now you're dependent on the coffee. So a treatment needs to be there. And we have some herbs for this we'll cover. And these are like adaptogen herbs. They help reduce stress and keep you calm at one time. So there are herbs that we can take for energy that won't aggravate, stimulate our nervous system and then make us think too much. So what else is stimulating? Well, any guesses? Sugar, cookies, candy, all stimulating. Now, that doesn't include fruit. Eating a banana is not stimulating. It may raise your blood sugar a little bit, but it's not stimulating to the nervous system. So don't mix up having dates and banana with cookies and candy. When I say sweets, I mean cookies, candy, these things. And now another big stimulant that a lot of people are doing and love, just like people love their coffee, is chocolate, cacao. Cacao is very stimulating. In Ayurveda, they say it's not good for this vata type because it's too stimulating, and not good for pitta because it's creating acidity. So, cacao is more suitable for somebody who's overweight, a little lethargic, wants to lose some weight, and the stimulation and a little more stomach acids can be good for the person. So I know we got the best chocolate in the whole world, I think, all these rose chocolate and, 70% pure. And every time you go through the checkout counter, you see all these chocolates. So don't think about it. Just observe it, but don't grab it. And so no sugar, no sweets, no chocolate, no stimulants. What else is stimulating? Well, the news is stimulating. Music that's too loud. I get a lot of young people in their 20s that have anxiety, nervousness, but what are they listening to? Techno. And they're, and drinking coffee. And then they come to me with anxiety, sleeping problems, nervousness, heart palpitations, numbness, tingling. Those are all signs of the nervous system has become depleted. So we're going to talk about foods that will help too. So we want to remove all stimulants first. And then we can do some home remedies. We can take a salt bath. Bath is much more relaxing than a shower. particularly with salt. And yes, chili peppers and hot spices can be stimulating. Good question. Mild spices like cumin, coriander, fennel, these are fine. But chili pepper, cayenne pepper is stimulating. You know, many people can get addicted to chili pepper. I was addicted to chili pepper. It's very stimulating. Once you get hooked on it, you feel you can't live without the chili pepper. I've been there, but it's stimulating. So you have to have like gentle, like a baby foods that are not too strong in their taste. And we'll talk a little bit more about food. So other home remedies we could do: salt bath, oil massage, meditation, breathing, resting. These are all things that we can do. Not watching the news, not reading too much in the newspaper, or watching too much online, not doing too much research. I find a lot of people with health problems are just researching all the time, and they're stressing themselves out by all of this research, because there's always two sides of the story. There's people who know and people who don't know. And when you're researching, it's all mixed together, and it's hard for you to know, who to follow and who not to follow. So over researching, is back to that overthinking again. So when your car has a problem, you don't just research it online and stress out. You just stay relaxed, take it to the car mechanic, let somebody help you. Well, that's what I tell people when they have serious, anxiety issues like panic attacks and chronic insomnia. Just relax, can do an appointment with me or another professional with herbs. And these herbs can become tools to help you sleep right away and feel relaxed right away, to help you get a grip again on your life and manage your stress better. So, and resting is very good, and not over pushing yourself, not overexerting yourself. I see a lot of people with anxiety, nervousness, and depletion, and they're running 5 miles a day. They're working out for 2 hours in the gym. Well, no, this is a stress for the body. You don't want to stress the body. You can do many things to reduce the stress. My mother, bless her soul, I think she's watching here, or she's listening on her phone. She always says, arrive 15 minutes early, because then you have less stress. If anything goes wrong or you get stuck in traffic, you'll remain relaxed because you left early. Don't be last minute. This creates stress. I find that driving in the slow lane and not passing cars, this also is helping with stress. So we need to slow down, accept life, don't think, and do things that will help us to become more relaxed. We have to be proactive with this and accept that you're a person who's sensitive, easy to be anxious or nervous, and you're going to have to take some action to do that. Even the people you're around, you don't want to be around other stressed out people. You want to be around other people who are relaxed, your yoga teacher, other people that help you feel more grounded, hopefully your partner. Now we'll talk a little bit about diet next, and then we'll go on to the herbs. Diet, when we're anxious, in Ayurveda, we have too much air, too much vata, pranavayu, and too much air in our heads, and we become ungrounded, anxious. Oh my God, I'm worried. Oh, there's a kind of spaciness. Where are my keys? Oh my God, I'm going to be late. And this is this lightheadedness, we could call it, and it leads to anxiety. And even when we don't eat, we haven't eaten all day, and we're not grounded, then we can easier to be not just irritable, but also anxious. So we need to keep ourselves grounded with our food. So that means most people who are vata, this type right above me, right there, vata, skinny, cold, dry, light, and sensitive, and easy to have nervous problems, anxiety, they do good with 3, even 4 meals a day. And heavy foods, not salads, not cabbage, not broccoli, no. Sweet potatoes with butter and cheese and stews and warm foods. So the food should be heavy, not salads and light. You're not trying to lose weight if you're thin and nervous. No, you're trying to ground. And a lot of people are anxious because they're underweight, because our society has so much pressure to be thinner. And people sometimes say, oh, I'll only be happy if I'm 120, 130. And I'm like, well, you're 50 years old. You can't stay 125 your whole life. It's just not going to happen. Where, you have to let the body find its natural weight. Again, if we try to control too much, then we're not going to be happy. If we're trying to control our weight, I see a lot of people who are really not overweight and think they're overweight, and they're worried about their weight all the time because they're trying to control it. It's better you have good eating habits, eat the right food, have good digestion, and not think of controlling your weight. Let the body find its own natural weight, which is actually a little higher than most people think. Because, in our society, health is skinny, six-pack, ribs are sticking out, and you're bony, basically. And this apparently looks quite good on Instagram, but it's not healthy. And, of course, when you're depleted like this is often their state of depletion. They're not getting enough food. We see people fasting a lot, skipping meals, eating salads, not having any grains, not having any dairy, and then anxiety's going up. Even for people who are overweight, they're maybe 250 kilos, 300 pounds, they definitely need to lose weight. And then they leave out all of these grains and cut the diet too much. They start to notice, they start to have anxiety and sleeping problems because they've eliminated these foods, and then the body starts to have some anxiety. So even when you're losing weight, you still have to feed the body a little bit and allow it to burn the fat. That's another subject. So mostly I'm talking today about the person who's not overweight, who's more thin, possibly from my point of view, a little underweight, and needs to build a little bit more, put on a little bit more weight. And that's grounding you out. So to review on diet, 3 meals a day, heavy foods, warm foods, oily foods, not light and dry foods. No, not stimulating foods. And should be so stews and soups and sweet potatoes and butter and rice and fish. These are best for a person who's anxious or, even ADHD, or the mind's not stable. It's jumping all around. These people need to have a big breakfast of oatmeal and butter and honey and nuts and hemp seed to ground them out before they go into the day. Okay? So first, always try to work with your mind. Keep it calm. Keep an eye on your thinking. Bring your mind back, keep control. Don't let it think at all. Just keep doing what you have to do. Do a few home remedies. Try to do yoga, meditation, relaxing, hot baths. Try to get massages if you can every day. That helps. And then eat grounding foods. Do all those things first, and then we can take some herbs, and you'll be fine. So let's talk about some herbs. We can talk about, we'll start with some nervines, some mild nervines. This is a lavender, French lavender, and it's not super relaxing, but when you smell it, it's very nice, and it works very good in essential oil. I have this Egyptian lavender here, used up from Egypt, and that you can put in a little diffuser in the room. And so lavender is very relaxing for children. It's very good. You can get a little pillow and put it in the bed for the child to help relax. And then we got another one here, passionflower. Passionflower is very relaxing too. It's a nervine, supporting the nervous system, slowing down the thinking a little bit. And even more so for supporting the nervous system is oat straw. We use oats for neurological problems like Parkinson's, even mental imbalances, even neuropathy and pain. They're using oats. It's almost like food for the nerves. Don't think of the herbs as like medicine. Think of them, in this case, particularly oats, like food for the nerves. Like you're all nervous and anxious, and then you have this chamomile, passionflower, hops, brahmi, formula. I'll show you some in a minute. And then it's the nerves are like a crying baby. Oh, I'm nervous. Oh, feed me. And then when you give them the herbs, it's like you feeding the nerves, and then they feel, that felt good. That's just what I need. And we know nervous system likes, from a nutritional point of view, B vitamins. So, people take whole food B vitamins in the morning, or little brewer's yeast I tend to have in the morning for my B vitamins. And the nerves like these B vitamins as well. So many of these herbs, even though they've been used for hundreds, even thousands of years, we find when we look at the research, they had a lot of B vitamins, because B vitamin support the nervous system. Minerals, magnesium supports the nervous system. So these herbs have these in them. So we don't have to take the supplements. A brahmi is another good one. But, here, let me show you one tea here that's got some of these herbs that we talked about. Let's see what we got there. There's the first one. We didn't bring all these down, but that's a relaxing tea. That's a lemon balm, which is from the mint family. It's not that relaxing, but it's a little bit. It's on the slight nervine. Skull cap, definitely relaxing. And crossed out there is catnip. I was out of catnip when I made this batch. Motherwort, which we also use for high blood pressure. Very good for heart palpitations, motherwort. There's the lavender, which I mentioned. So that's very nice. Gives it a nice smell, a nice aroma. Oat straw, very important for supporting the nervous system. Passionflower, which is really the passionflower and skullcap and little catnip. These are the real nervines here. Rosemary is just to help with the circulation, so it's able to move it all through the body and through the brain. And then I put in some rose petals, again, just for the scent and the smell, and makes it look like a beautiful tea. And a little cinnamon, good. It's kind of like cinnamon is like a catalyst, like rosemary, to help the whole formula work better together and help it move to the brain and the extremities of the body. Very nice tea, relaxing and calming tea. Works very well. And you can see how we're using those herbs there. And then to sleep, we just use more sedative herbs like poppy seed, California poppy seed. It's from the opiumate family, but this California poppy is not so strong, but it's definitely a sedative, poppy seed. And you can also, I do it also in hops. Hops doesn't taste that good. Hops flowers, you see the big flowers. You notice a lot of these relaxing teas and sedatives and nervines, they're flowers. Lavender, chamomile, these are flowers. So flowers are often the part of the plant that's bringing this peace and mind to us. So, and here's chamomile. We can't see chamomile. Let me just open it up. Again, a flower. See? Nice flower. Smells very nice. If you just smell the whole bag of chamomile, you relax. Just smelling this herbs, I can already feel more settled and more grounded. And I haven't even had a tea yet. I have some relaxing tea right here. So, very nice. So here's a tea where we're using some of those herbs. There it is there. There again, we're putting lemon balm right in there first. It's a good kind of filler, pleasant. Catnip, which is more of a sedative than, and it's kind of mild sedative, mild nervine. Chamomile, which definitely makes you sleepy. Lavender, again, relaxing. Passionflower, again, nervine, relaxing. And then there's the two big hitters there that really kind of sedate you. Poppy seed, hops. And then we're using licorice as kind of a catalyst to kind of bring it all together and make it work better. And rose hips, well, it just makes it look nice. It gives it a good flavor. Very nice tea. You can see relaxes the mind and calms the nerves and induces sleep. Very nice, working very pleasant. And we have other herbs. The premier herb in Ayurveda for relaxing the mind is brahmi. And brahmi, we use brahmi in many forms. We have like a little brain ghee. It's in brahmi ghee, basically. We call it brain ghee. It's good for memory. So brahmi is slightly calming, balancing vata and pitta, slowing down the mind, but improving the memory at the same time. So this is wonderful. This is for a person who's just a little anxious, maybe a little overworked, but they're still teaching or working every day and they need their mind to be sharp. Then we have brain tea, which you can see ginkgo, which is slightly stimulating, good for the mind, bringing oxygen to the mind. The research says it helps the memory. Brahmi is the main ingredients. Gota cola, good for circulation. Sage, also good for memory. There's that lemon balm, kind of a filler Rosemary and ginger, the catalyst to help it, improve overall circulation in the body. See, it says improves circulation, improves cognitive function, and slightly relaxing. I drink this tea all day long, and it's very, very pleasant. Now, relaxing tea can make you a little sleepy, particularly if you're burned out, or you've had adrenal fatigue, and you're very tired because you've overworked. So then we have to give this type of person an adaptogen adrenal tea. Basically, we have different ones. Lowers the stress. It's non-stimulating. See, and the main ingredient is ashwagandha. And there's ashwagandha. We also have it in powder called Adrenal Formula. Now, this is with alethro. Alethro is also called Siberian ginseng. It's kind of like a low-grade ginseng from Siberia. So it's a little stimulating, but still an adaptogen. Licorice root, which is good for the adrenals. Cinnamon, again, as a circulatory to help it move in. Cardamom, again, like catalyst just to help the whole formula work a little better. So if somebody is very fatigued and they say, oh, I'm just, I'm tired in the day. I'm burned out. I used to have a lot of energy, but now I'm tired and I'm dependent on coffee. So I'll give them the tea, adrenal tea in the morning. You can drink the adrenal tea in the morning. Then in the afternoon, as you're, if you get overworked from work, then you can have, then you have the relaxing tea or the brain tea. Relaxing, here it is, relaxing tea. Then have the relaxing tea in the afternoon or the brain tea, a little more calming than the adrenal. And then when you come home after dinner, then start having the sleeping tea. So this little combination here, adrenal tea in the morning, relaxing tea in the afternoon, sleeping tea in the evening, oh, it works fantastic. I've been giving that package of 3 out to hundreds of people, over more than a decade. And it's working very nice, particularly if you're eating the 3 meals, staying grounded. And then these teas become like your friends. You know them so well, and you look forward to them, and they're helping you to get through your stressful life. And say you're at home and you're not stressed and the lockdown's over, then, maybe you don't need the relaxing tea as much. Maybe you can just do the brain tea, for example. So there's some question there. I'll take a look. So now let's look at some Indian herbs. Somebody's asking about slippery elm, good for the nerves. Well, I have slippery elm. I don't use it. I have it in a soothing gut formula that helps with, creating more mucosa in the stomach lining. I also use slippery elm in a couple, slippery elm or marshmallow root in a couple cough formulas to help, again, to create the mucus. And I also use slippery elm in one of my teas for constipation, mild constipation, but I don't use it in any other nerve or formula or sleeping formula, just because there's better things. It's like turmeric. I mean, turmeric's anti-inflammatory, but when you have frankincense powder or boswellia, which is so much better, then we don't use the turmeric. So it's not that these herbs don't have other qualities, but when there's a better herb to do the job, then we don't do it. So let's do a few Indian herbs here. This is tagar. And tagar is a big sedative. It's related to valerian. And I didn't show you Western valerian because I'm using tagar. Tagar is not as heavy. They call it Indian valerian root. And it is a little stinky, and it smells like valerian. And we mix it with shankhpushpi. Shankhpushpi is good for the mind, and it's calming. A little bit similar to passionflower in that sense. Jatamansi, also a popular Indian herb for relaxing in your nerves. So we mix all these together, and we make some formulas like this one here called calming formula. There we go. First ingredient, ashwagandha, an adaptogen. There's jatamansi, which I just told you about, shankhpushpi, and brahmi. So those 3 right there, jatamansi, shankhpushpi, and brahmi. Those are a magic 3 combo. All Indians are using these. Now, I put a little tagar, which really makes it suitable for somebody having like panic attacks. And the ashwagandha is also kind of balancing it out. But the nervines definitely are jatamansi, shankhpushpi, and brahmi, and the tagar is like a sedative. But I just put a little bit to just take the edge off the person. And that's working very well. And of course, it's much more effective than a tea, because a tea is always just a decoction. You only have the extract of the tea. But when you take an herb, you're ingesting the herb. So it's much more effective. In fact, you can get, this is probably equal to like 3 bags of tea. 1 or 2 teaspoons of relaxing tea, and you're going to feel relaxed for a few hours. But you take a couple teaspoons of this, and you could feel relaxed the whole day. So ingesting herbs is always better. And we don't really want to do too much extracts or tinctures. They're too light, because we want to ingest the whole herb, because this is getting all of its properties, and it has a more grounding feeling. That's why Ayurveda doesn't, you can't do ashwagandha in a tincture. No, this is the wrong thinking. Ashwagandha is a creamy, a grounding, heavy type of herb or plant. So when we eat it, part of the effect is not just the qualities of ashwagandha, that it's an adaptogen, but that heavy grounding effect of actually digesting the herb. So that's working very well. And then for sleep, see, we have a couple sleeping formulas. Sleeping formula, there we go. We can take a look there. There's Tagar number 1 now. See, the calming formula, Tagar was just a little bit. But if you want to knock out Tagar, it's related to valerian, but doesn't make you feel so heavy in the morning as valerian does. And we don't give Tagar or valerian straight, because you really feel too sedated in the morning and groggy. But when you just put jatamansi, shankhpushpi in there, then you feel it's more relaxing. And this sarpgandha is another herb we use for blood pressure, and it's very good for the heart muscles in particular. So, but the problem with Tagar is it's warming and hot. So we have another formula just called Sleep Tonic for Pitta, and it's get sleepy and stay asleep. Because there's also another type, Pitta people, they get to sleep and then they wake up in the middle of the night. That type of person, we give this one, particularly if they wake up and they feel hot. Then we give them this formula, Pitta Prakriti. They're warmer and hotter, and they're not really nervous. They're kind of more driven in things. So Shankhpushpi, jatamansi, and brahmi, the first 3 I mentioned, see? But mukti pishti, that's powders of pearl. And taruni is rose powder. Very sweet, very nice, calming flavor. And there's also chamomile in here, but I don't see it on the ingredients, but it's in there, chamomile powder. Should be on there. So I think I added it later for a little bit more sleeping effect. So we actually have 2 sleeping formulas. One that's kind of for people who get hot, wake up in the middle of the night. So if I would, because this Tagar's heating. So if I say you're postmenopausal and you're having hot flashes and can't sleep, if I gave you this, you'd wake up sweating. So we give you the other one, the one with the roses in it that's calming and also not heating, cooling with roses. And that the pearl makes you cool. So there is many types of insomnia, and there's many causes to anxiety. So it's important to classify the different type of insomnia. So let's see what else we have here. We have a few essential oils. There's Chamomile Essential Oil. This is very nice. Also, you can mix it with lavender, and you can put this in an infusion in the room, and this can help you relax. And so that's quite a bit. There's chamomile powder. Yeah, see, I added the chamomile powder to that one formula, and that helped it work better. I remember now. I fixed it. So if you combine all of these suggestions that I just did, try to calm the mind, don't think, and avoid stimulating things like loud music, the news, politics, being on the internet at night. Try to cut all this down. Live a more simple life. Learn to say no. Accept what you can't control. These help a lot. Helps a lot. And then do things like take a nice bath with some lavender, in the bath, some essential oils, get a massage from your partner, and then drink these teas. And they can be combined. We combine them. We get, for example, sleeping tea plus sleeping formula, put them together, knock you right out. And the beauty is, once you can use the herb like a tool to knock yourself out, so to speak, at night, once you get that one good night's sleep, then the next day it's much easier. And same when you learn to relax. You're like training an animal. Like, I had a dog and it's always jumping up and down, jumping up and down. And I was relax, stay down. And once the dog learned to stay calm, even though it was full of energy, it learned to stay calm. So we had to train the dog. You have to train your own mind to not think, not worry, not project, not think of the past, not think of the future. And the herb becomes like a tool that helps you to do it. Because when you do the sleeping powder, even this calming formula, your brain slows down, stops working. You're not thinking as fast. I wouldn't advise anybody to take my sleeping formula and then drive a car. Your reactions are going to be much slower. And people who have panic attacks do my calming formula and drink my relaxing tea all day long, and they don't have panic attacks. And their thinking slows down. So you're using the herbal formula. Formula is always working better than just a single tea. Formula is complete. It's helping with the nerves, helping with the circulation. Maybe some of them even helping a little bit with digestion. It's necessary. And supporting the nerves, not just sedating the nerves. So we have the herb like a tool, like your friend. So every night you will feel more relaxed knowing that you have your sleeping tea, that you have your sleeping powder, because you can try your sleeping tea first. If you're still not asleep, maybe just take some of the sleeping powder. And just knowing that you have it helps you to stay more calm and relaxed because it's there. I've had people tell me that they had a jar of my calming formula for their anxiety, but it ran out. But they were waiting for me to ship them a new one or something. And they got the jar and they just smelt it and they were relaxed. And it was working for days. No panic attacks because they were smelling the scent of the herbs that they were taking for months. And the body smelt it and just instantly stopped thinking and started relaxing because you train the body by the herbs. So, and there's herbs, these are plants and flowers. So you could be taking them every day. I mean, I know people that have been taking, chamomile for 20 years every night, or many Indians have taken brahmi tea every day for, their whole lives to help the memory and to help the nerves. So, and a lot of these, and all of them, I would have to say, have vitamins and minerals in them. So much better than water. If you have anxiety and you're underweight and even dehydrated, you're going to do much better having adrenal tea, relaxing tea, and sleeping tea than drinking water. Water is not helping your nerves relax. Water is very cleansing. And a lot of times if we have urinary tract issues, we just end up urinating it out and we stay dry and we're never fully replenishing ourselves. So when we're anxious, we always have to take care of ourselves like a baby, not skip meals, sleep early, sleep until we wake up, don't pressure ourselves, don't push ourselves, and take these herbal medicines as needed. And of course, any Chinese herbalist is many Chinese herbs too. I'm just not expert in Chinese herbs, but Chinese herbalists have all these herbs. South Americans, they have a lot of herbs, nervines and sedatives and adaptogens that you could have as well. So all cultures have herbal medicine. Herbal medicine has been around since the beginning of man. It's not alternative. It is the natural form of healthcare, and people have been doing it for thousands of years. Only now, research is starting to figure it out and test in these things. But it's not necessary for us. We know, we take it, we feel more relaxed, we take it, we sleep better. And then we've been, people have been taking these for a long time. There's no negative side effects in these. I mean, there are herbs that you cannot take long term. There are herbs that, can have some negative side effects, but not in these that we discussed today. So I hope that helped you to feel more calm and realize that herbal medicine has a lot to offer to help you to manage your stress and your anxiety, improve your sleep in life. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.